Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Doug and I've got another topic on baseball caps for you today. Really, I wanted to start talking about what I see as a rising trend in the fitted cap world, and that is this idea of a cap drop. Now, it's really not that new, and certainly there's precedence in other areas of apparel. Clearly, we've been living with sneaker drops for many, many years now. And there's this element of exclusivity that creates real demand for these things when there's a scheduled drop and a limited amount of these caps. But we're also starting to see the downside, which is a lot of people getting frustrated that they can't get a hold of the ones that they really want. There's some really, I guess, pop psychology at work behind some of these things, in that there's a feeling of exclusivity and scarcity because these are limited releases, and it's also time-based, so you got to be there and be ready to buy this stuff. In the internet age, you've probably heard it before, but this fear of missing out, or some people call that FOMO, so everybody starts to line up and it creates this incredibly high demand, just like we've seen the runaway market for sneakers and resale of sneakers. Now, the drawback to everything that happened in the sneaker world is, of course, that there's so much competition and so much income to be made on the resale market that it's actually become a really complicated process to get sneakers that you really want. I would be a little dismayed if this really started happening with the world of fitted caps. Of course, the stakes are a little bit lower. The average cost of a cap is really quite a bit cheaper than the average cost of a pair of sneakers, but still, the trend is something that I'd like to see not creep into fitted cap collecting. I would say that Hat Club is probably the leader of the whole phenomenon. They typically have a few drops during a week, and a lot of times these are a mix of either custom MLB caps, or a lot of times they're utilizing some outside designers in what Hat Club calls their design collective. So they've got some designers that regularly create 5950 caps for them. They put these on sale, and a lot of times the drops sell out in minutes or less. Every size is often gone. So that's been kind of the foremost leading edge of this trend that I've seen. But I would say that New Era has also gotten in on the action. They've had some pretty high profile collaborations, most notably I'd say with Kid Cudi and Travis Scott, hip hop artists that collaborated on 5950 designs. So those caps are usually announced via email or some other social media format. Those also sell out very quickly, and those particular caps have actually appeared on places like StockX, Sneaker Exchange, and other material goods exchange, where they're commanding quite a high price for a fitted cap, sometimes up to and exceeding $200 in the case of one of the more rare Travis Scott caps. So I mentioned the whole cycle at Hat Club, and I'll tell you what happens after those drops. There's an almost predictable pattern nowadays of the caps are posted again at 11 a.m. Pacific time. All sizes on popular designs are gone within a minute or two. And then if you monitor the Instagram message boards after that posting of that cap, you'll see a predictable outcry from users that tried to acquire the cap. I can't get a hold of these caps. My size was gone. I had the size in my cart, and then all of a sudden after I was checking out or tagged my credit card information in there and tried to check out, it disappeared from my cart or said this item's sold out. There's people saying, I'll never do this again. I'm done with Hat Club. I'm done with these drops. I can never get it. There's people expressing the fact that this is a sort of competition and whether they got the win or took the loss. And then there's also something leading to a little bit more positive side of this, which is asking for a pre-order on the cap for a restock, which is something that Hat Club is getting better at doing. A lot of times if you buy something in March, for example, you'll get it in June, but at least you can get the caps that you want. So this is a really interesting topic on so many levels because I can think about all the ways that we're being manipulated. A few of those I've mentioned already. There's this whole idea that there's an urgency, there's time put on it. There's scarcity that's put on these caps because when there's just a normal drop and no pre-order, you know there's only a fixed amount of caps available in your size. So it forces you, when there's been a cap I've been interested in, I actually put an entry into my calendar on my phone so that I remember to log in and check it. But for the most part, I haven't been terribly successful on the really fast disappearing caps. I mentioned the whole fear of missing out thing, FOMO. I think that's fully at play here. The chance to get something exclusive. These are all the ways that we're being manipulated by these cap drops. And this whole idea that it's a competition. Were you fast enough to get one? Or did you take the L and miss out on that cap? And there's lots of speculation that just like in the sneaker world, that some people are using bots to automate the buying process to make sure that they get them in a very, very rapid time frame. I wouldn't put it past some of these things, but it all amounts to a very frustrating experience when you see something that you wanted to pick up and you just can't get it. There's other times where I think people are buying caps that maybe they wouldn't ordinarily buy, but they just don't want to miss out again. The week prior, there was an Oakland A's cap that sold out really super fast again. But to me, I looked at it, and even though the design is cool, I never would have picked it up because there was a two-tone visor, and the body of the cap was black. It was more of a hunter green on the visor compared to an olive green used in the A's script logo. And it just looks so strange compared to the hunter green in the visor of the cap. So to me, that's kind of baffling. That's a poor quality choice, but clearly it didn't matter to anybody who bought the cap. They just wanted that design, and I can't help but think that it's the psychology of being able to get that cap, why somebody would buy it and buy something with, in my eyes, an obvious quality defect or a bad design choice present in the cap. In fact, I'd say that I'm starting to believe that just about anything Hat Club makes these days is going to sell out. And I think that's testament to how successful they've been at getting people to follow their releases. So I think that they're just encouraged by the continued sales of caps and sellouts, which is maybe even a little bit more puzzling too, since we are in the midst of, or maybe coming out of this pandemic situation, and certainly we're in the middle of an economic recession, but doesn't seem to be affecting Hat Club hat sales right now. I guess for me personally, I think I'm going to take a step back from this cycle. There's still some interesting caps I'm sure that'll come out, but I'm actually not a big fan of the way I'm being manipulated by the exclusivity and the competition and trying to fight to acquire these caps or add them to my collection. So I know that could sound a little bit like I'm a sore loser or maybe a little bit of sour grapes, but I have gotten a couple of these. It's just that I've also missed out on a couple and realized that what was happening to me was I was trying to get in there and get these caps, and just gotten a little tired of the whole cycle and seeing the comments on Instagram of everybody else that's getting upset when something is deleted from their cart. So I'm checking out of that part of it, and just realizing that there's probably a lot more caps out there. There's so many vendors out there, so many places where you can find cool collections or caps that are left over from good collections of different teams, sports, etc. That I think I can be happy with that for a little while, and don't so much want one vendor or a couple of vendors to kind of set my cap buying schedule for me. So I'm ready to move on, disconnect from this a little bit. I would say that the pre-order model is a good one, and I'd like to see more of that because if you do see a design that is really cool and you want to grab that, I mean, it's certainly guaranteed when a vendor offers a pre-order. And Hat Club, to their credit, is doing that with the highest demand caps. So that's good to see. I'd like to see them continue that trend. But I know there's a couple others out there who are moving towards the pre-order model, and I think that's a very positive sign. Anyways, that's kind of where I'm at personally. I'd encourage any viewers to seek out, explore maybe some other options if you too are frustrated with the cap drop and trying to acquire those and losing out or taking the L, as they say. So that's all of the thoughts that I wanted to cover today around this whole idea of cap drops. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.